whenever we have or we define ourselves or define life or define, there's a lot of definitions always given. Ever since we've been born, we've been defining everything. We've been defined. And with definition, with being defined comes confinement as well. There's a feeling of being confined. There's a limitation or a structure or a box to that definition, to that confinement, right? And so this moment here is to just go beyond any old structures, any confinements, any definitions, or anything that defines one in terms of labels, structures, old paradigms, anything that keeps us in a state of limitation, in a box, in a old paradigm of sorts where we have been and have felt limited. And so the breaking through this confinement, the transcending of this old structures, old layers, old boxes, is ready to realize our limitless nature. For how would we truly know what is possible? How would we truly know our own strength? How would we truly know our potentiality if we do not break through and transcend the old definitions and labels and stories and structures and boxes that we've been placed in and that we've placed ourselves in? It brings me to the point of pain and suffering for a moment. I was asked a very important question recently in one of my containers, and the question was this. These bad things that happen to people in the world, to myself, to others, to whomever this was posed to me, the bad things that happens to me, all the fear and the worry and the pain, is it real or am I making it up? Was the question. And my response to that is this, or was this. There are layers to this question. And firstly, we want to address the idea that everything we experience in the physical, right? Whether we want to call it karma or manifestation or creation, everything in the physical is almost destined in a sense where it's playing out or it's unfolding in a certain way. In order, firstly, to allow us moments where we can experience ourselves as we truly are, allow us moments of contraction where we can expand and awaken and become enlightened and become more conscious. But secondly, also, those moments that we perceive as painful or as suffering or as fear or as worry, whatever that contraction is, the question remains is this, is how we perceive those experiences. How much do we attach ideas, assumptions, and stories to those experiences? And we will continue to allow life to unfold. And that's the key word, allowing. When we are in resistance to the moments, even the most painful and contracted experiences, and we are in resistance to it, it's more likely that we prolong suffering, that we activate secondary suffering, that we even activate suffering as a whole in the first place. A lot of the experiences actually calls us to be in a more receptive state of allowing, where we can take our so-called perceived dense experiences and situations and transform it into higher states of consciousness. That is the purpose and the intention of one's experiences, how you perceive it and how it is being perceived by you, how it's being received by you, how it's being experienced by you, most of the time is based upon your limited perceptual view or filter of what is happening around you. But instead, when we can come back into a state of awareness where we can realize that those moments and every single moment that occurs is merely just an unfolding that allows us greater access to expanded and higher states of consciousness. And if we can allow those moments to unfold naturally as it wants to, without resistance, without restricting it, without limiting the flow of what is easier to bring us, then we will allow ourselves to naturally transform those moments into higher states of consciousness. As a conscious being, we come to understand that reality is as we believe it to be, is it not? And what happens when that intrinsic core belief changes? What happens when those beliefs suddenly transforms and is in resonance with the truth of our soul as a creator God, self, that you are creator, that you can have magical, miraculous experiences and be sustained, supported over time in ways that you've never been or perceived yourself to be supported and sustained before. Can we lean into the possibility that the impossible is possible? That is your purpose for this week, beloved Master.